Yeah.
He should live me well. Rabbi Kadosh once came over to me in Shayashiv when he was still going there. He says, Horowitz, he says, Horowitz, my wife wishes I had a beard like yours. I said, Rabbi Kadosh, my wife wishes I knew Shas like you, okay? Tell me about my beard, big deal, my beard, you know.
Very good. That's very good. Yeah. Okay, so then we're up to Lamed Chesam and Aleph, 3 lines down. So we're actually in middle of a whole Shakravatarya. So again, the back and forth is we're looking for different psukim that seem to say that you're not allowed to buy off your misa or buy off shoygig or buy any of these things off. Right? So we said, what was the last thing we said? Yeah, so we were saying how the difference is if somebody has misa b'dei shamayim, then there's such a thing as kaifer, because the Lamaisa, they're not being punished in this world. They're going to be punished in the next world, or this world's going to become shorter for them. Right? But then we said that maybe the chiddush is that when you kill somebody derech aliyah, when you're lifting up the axe, when it's behind you and you're lifting it up, so there you're not really chayav galus, so maybe there you have the din. But when it's on the way down, that the shaygig is given for a kapara because you go to galus for that, then maybe we should take money from him and he'll be potter. So we say kamash malan, no, for all these things you don't take money and it's not going to make you potter. Now the Gemara has a kasha from a previous Gemara on this chiddush that on aliyah, that there's no difference whether you go on the way up, you kill the guy, or on the way down. So 4 lines down. Amalei Rabbah, Tana dibei Chizkiya nafka. We learned this already out from Tana dibei Chizkiya, that there's no difference whether you kill the guy with the axe on the way up or on the way down. The Tana dibei Chizkiya, maka adam or maka behema. It says you hit a person and you hit a behema. Ma maka behema loy chalakta by bein shaygig u'mezid. Just like when you hit a behema, there's no difference whether it's shaygig u'mezid. Bein mischaven, l'shem mischaven. I mean, when you damage somebody's animal, so we don't care. You have to pay the damages. It doesn't make a difference whether it was by mistake, on purpose, whether you did it with kavana, no kavana, bein derech kirida, derech aliyah. No difference if it's on the way down, on the way up. The paitre moment to pater you from money. Ela l'chayve moment, meaning you're always going to be chayav money. So af maka adam loy sach like bein shaygig u'mezid. Same thing when you hit a person. There's no difference whether you did it b'shaygig, whether you did it b'mezid, bein mischaven, l'sheina mischaven, whether it was with kavanah, without kavanah, bein derech yirida, derech aliyah, whether it was on the way down, on the way up, l'chayve moment, to be mechayv moment, ela paitre moment, that you're going to be potter from money. So you see that in all these cases, on the way up, on the way down, money is never going to be taken from you in order to make you potter. Right? So you know that already from Tana dibei Chizkiya. So when I answer is no. So we're going back and saying, what do you need? Itzner. Why do you need 2 psukim to tell you that a person doesn't pay money when he does any of these, when he kills somebody? Maybe that's only when you make him blind. And when the same way you made him blind, you killed him too, meaning you shot a bullet, let's say, through his eye. So his eye was damaged first. Then the bullet went to his brain. But it was the same maisa of damaging that did it to him. It blinded him and then it killed him. But let's say he hit him in the eye, but that didn't kill him. Then and then he killed him. And then he killed him with a different one. Right? Rashi said, but both happened at the exact same time, meaning he must have hit him with the right hand and the left hand at the same time. The right hand he knocked out his eye, and the left hand hit him in the head, and that they both killed him at the same time. Right? So so then maybe I would think it's 2 different actions. One action damaged his eye. The other action killed him. Even though they happened at the same time, and really should only give him the punishment of misa because that's the more strict punishment. But maybe when there's 2 different things that went on here, so maybe you should give him he should have to pay and be chayav misa. So then the chiddush is that in both cases you don't take money from it. We also know that din from Tana dibei Chizkiya. The Tana dibei Chizkiya, ayin tachas ayin. It says you put an eye for an eye, but loy ayin v'nefesh tachas ayin, and you don't pay for an eye and a nefesh under an eye, right? So that's so meaning we already learned it. Yeah, so we yeah. Fine, okay. So yeah. So that's the kasha we already. It says loy ayin v'nefesh tachas ayin, which I'm not sure what does that mean. So let's say you hit the guy and you broke his arm at the same time that you killed him. So then it's not meaning. I thought being blind is lav dafka, but now it seems like the Gemara is saying specifically an eye and then you killed him, right? Unless you just say that it's a mashal. And that truth is Rashi answers that. Rashi does say that it doesn't. Ayin is just an example, but it doesn't mean specific. Either way, we already know that too. So Elam Rabashi, you need the two psukim. Knas is a chiddush, right? What's a knas? A knas is a fine, right? Meaning knas is normally when you damage somebody, so you have to pay the damages. That's not a chiddush. That's regular damages, right? So since it's regular damages, you have to pay it. But to pay a knas, that's a chiddush. So since a knas is a chiddush, then afagav the mikdal mashalim, you would think even though he did kill somebody, he still has to pay. Kamash Malon, that the pasuk is telling us that no, that you're potter even from a knas. Even though a knas is a chiddush, but you still potter from a knas. Fine. Well, the Rabbah da Amar chiddush u'shechitcha Torah b'knas. Right. This was Rav in Rameir. Right, that chiddush u'shechitcha Torah b'knas. There's a chiddush by knas. Avagav the mikdal mashalim. That even though he does get misa, he still has to pay. Meaning he does hold you get both. Hi kol chayrim my avidle. So what does he do with the pasuk of kol chayrim? Meaning we said that you need the two psukim to tell us that the second pasuk is to tell you a chiddush. That even though knas is a chiddush, so you would think a chiddush you have to pay it anyways, even if you're going to die. Kamash Malan, that you don't. Since the guy's dying, he doesn't have to pay anything. But what about Rabbah holds you do have to pay? A guy does have to pay knas even if he's dying. So what is he going to learn? So look at Tana Kama, the Reb Chanani ben Akavya. So he's going to go with the Tana Kama of Reb Chanani ben Akavya, who says that that there is no when a guy is being put to death and you say, hey, I want to donate the amount of money that he's worth to the Beis Hamikdash, he's not allowed to. It's worthless. So that's the shita. That's the shita that he's going to go with. All right. Okay. So then Zog the Mishna, naarah shenis arsa v'niskarsha. So you have a naarah. Again, a naarah is from age 12 and a half. She became engaged and then she became divorced. Right, and then somebody was ma'anas her. Yeah, so Rabbi Yosef Lili Omer ain't lo knas. She doesn't get a knas, right? And but even though she, by the way, she was a psula too, obviously. Otherwise, what's the question? Right? She's a psula. She got engaged, not married. She got divorced, and then somebody was ma'anas her. So she does not, according to Rabbi Yosef Lili, she does not get a knas, right?
What's Loshev in his garsha?
We have gerushin from kedushin. There's regular gerushin from kedushin. Right?
In the Sar, so she was Erison, then she got divorced.
Right. Then what's
the case?
That's it. She was engaged. So I mean she never had bia. She had to get divorced. So she got divorced. And then somebody was ma'anis her. So even though she's a pasula, she still does not get, you don't have to pay knas.
Right? Pay knas for what?
For the regular 50 shekel knas that you give for being ma'anis and naarah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Why is there no knas?
Also, we're going to see in the Gemara. Right? So Rabbi Yosef says there's no Knas. Rabbi Akiva says yesh lo Knas. She has a Knas, the Knas ala'atzma, but she gets to keep the Knas. The father does not get to keep the Knas. She gets to keep the Knas. Oh, so what's pshat here? So my time to Rabbi Yosef, what's the reason for Rabbi Yosef? Amar Kra asher lo yarasa. The pasuk says that she was not engaged, right? Ha arsa. But if she did get engaged, and look knas, she doesn't get a knas. So basically, it's just using as a pasuk, right? The pasuk seems to say that it's a woman who never was engaged. She gets the knas. Mashma that if she was engaged, even though she's still a basula, she gets the knas, Rabbi Akiva Savar, meaning, and I'm sorry, if she's engaged, he does not give the knas. Rabbi Akiva says Asher lo yarasa lo aviyah. When it says that she's not engaged, that's when if she was not engaged, then her father, meaning if she was a standard basula, then her father gets the knas. Right? But if she was engaged, then la'atzma, she gets to keep the money. So it's interesting. Rabbi Yosef Glil and Rabbi Akiva are darshaning the same pasuk, that it says it's a woman who was not engaged and somebody rapes her, they get a knas. They get the knas. But so Rabbi Yosef Glil is darshaning, okay, so she wasn't engaged. So if she was engaged, then there's no knas. Rabbi Akiva says no. If she was engaged, there is a knas, just it's not the standard knas that goes to the father. The knas goes to her. So Gemara asks, when it says that it's a naarah, what?
What happens if she never got divorced? She was engaged. She got.
Oh, then he's chayiv skila. Then he's chayiv skila.
Say, but what happened? What the money go to? Does he doesn't have to pay money?
No, because he's chayiv skila. Come let me do. He's got much bigger issues. He's got much bigger issues, right? Because she's an Eishes Ish, right? She's an Eishes Ish. So then he's out. Yeah. Oh, so the Gemara says if that's the case and you're being so meduyak according to Rabbi Akiva Elamayat, it says naira v'loy begeres, right? It's only a girl that's 12 and a half, not once she's 12 and a half. Hachanami de la atzma, pesula of the la atzma, that means but she gets to keep the money. Meaning when the pasuk says that's only a naira. Once she's 13, or 12 and a half or 13, then there's no knas. Mashma, according to Rabbi Akiva, there's no knas to the father, but she gets to keep the knas. Is that the way you're going to darshan it? It says besula v'loy ba'ula. Hachanami de la atzma. That means only if she's a psula, not a ba'ula. That means it's for her. But if she's a ba'ula, then that the money's not going to the father. But if she's a ba'ula, she gets to keep the money. Ella legamri. So it means no, that there's no knas at all. So hachanami legamri. It has to mean also here when it says it means there's no knas at all. That's like Rabbi Yosef, not like Rabbi Akiva. So Amalach Rabbi Akiva, no. We need this pasuk of loya rasa for a braysa because it says asher loya rasa if she was not engaged. What does that mean? Prat l'naira shenesarsa v'neskasha. That's coming to exclude a woman who got engaged and she got divorced. She'ain lo knas. She doesn't have a knas at all. Right? That's Rabbi Yosef in the Mishna. Kiva Aimer yesh lo knas. She does have a knas. The knas alavia, and the knas goes to the father. Why? But din naisen, and this is what the din naisen means, and that should be, it makes sense. Oil via zakai bekesav kiddusha, but via zakai bekesav knasa. Since a father, who gets the money for the kiddushin? The father, right? The father's allowed to sell off his daughter. Right? When she's a naira, the father gets to keep the money, and the father also gets to keep the money if there's a knas because they were ma'anesim. But so now when she gets married, so let's say a girl got engaged, then she got divorced from the engagement, and now she's still a naira, and she gets engaged to somebody else. So who gets the money? The father. Even though she was married once, and she was engaged once, and now she gets engaged again. The father keeps the money. Af kesef knasa. So the same thing with the kesef knas. Af pisha nesarsha v'niskarsha la'aviyah. Then you would think that the money should go, the money for the knas should go to the father. So that the problem is, so then what's the pasuk saying? That if the woman wasn't engaged? Mufna, so therefore it means it's extra. To make a hekesh to it, and to learn out from it exera shava. It says here where she was not engaged. And it says weiter that she wasn't engaged. Makan. Nun, just like here, it's 50 aflahalon nun. So therefore, by the mafata, she also gets nun. We had this limud before, but not the same limud, but the same din. Again, just like here, by ma'anis, he has to give 50 shekel, right? Shekel kesef. Aflahalon nun. So too by mafata, you also give umalalon shkolim, and just like later it's shkolim, afkan shkolim. So therefore here too, it's shkolim. So that's basically how Rabbi Akiva is darshaning the pasuk of Asher Lo Yarasa, right? So therefore, Therefore, that's what we're doing with the. That's how we're learning out the pasuk, and therefore it leaves everything open for her to get her own. She gets the knas herself.
Don't we have a steer in Rabbi Akiva now?
That's going to be on number base. It's going to be on number base. L'chayr, it sounds like you have a steer in Rabbi Akiva. Why are you saying that, Gershon?
Mishna says knas la'atzma, the braysa says knas la'aviyah.
Very good, very good. So that's the Gemara. That's going to be the Gemara's kasha number base. Rabbi Akiva. So the Gemara analyzed Rabbi Akiva. My chaz is to asher lo yarasa l'gzeira shava. Again, he's darshaning the asher lo yarasa for gzeira shava, right? But he's not darshaning asher lo yarasa to tell you that he doesn't pay knas at all, right? So my chaz is to asher lo yarasa is gzeira shava. Upsula lemute beula, and the word besula is coming to exclude a woman who's a beula on Talmud Beis now. Ema besula l'gzeira shava. Why don't you say a besula is for the gzeira shava? Right, and meaning you're going to hold all the gzeira shava basula, but asher lo yarasa pratla naarah and asasav and iskasha, and the pasuk asher lo yarasa is going to tell us that it comes to exclude a naarah that got engaged and got divorced. The Gemara says no, stavra. Basically, the Gemara's kasha here is that you have two words to darshan in the pasuk basula and asher lo yarasa. So Rabbi Akiva chose to darshan it one way. The Gemara is saying, who says you could say the same thing? You could darshan the opposites, learn out the same limudim, but learn it out from the different psukim, and therefore you will not have asher lo yarasa available to darshan that the man doesn't have to pay money if he's ma'anis a girl who was engaged. So my answer is no mistaver asher lo yarasa l'gzeira shava. No, must be it's more mistaver that the asher lo yarasa is coming to teach us the gzeira shava sharei ani kairaba naira besula, right? Because you can call on her. That's a literal translation, but it means you can refer to it as a naira besula, right? That means all women, even if they were a naira besula, means she is a naira besula. Happens to be she got engaged and she got divorced, but right now she's a naira besula, right? Who cares what happened to her before? So maybe it makes sense that's how you darshan. The Gemara says, "Adarabba, basula l'gzeira shava." You should use the word basula for gzeira shava. Sharani karava asher lo yarasa, because you can say the word basula that she wasn't engaged, right? Most girls, meaning even if they're not a basula, but they're not engaged, right? So our answer is mistabra ha ishtani gufa, right? By the basula, I'm sorry. There was a change in her guf. There was an ishtani gufa, right? Meaning before she was ma'anis, she lost her basula, right? But it didn't make her it's not such a chesaron. I mean, okay, she doesn't have a haima. But the other one, the one who was a basula, but she got engaged, then she has nothing. Her guf wasn't changed at all. So since her guf wasn't changed at all, she should be the one. Now this guy came along and raped her, so he did more damage to her. Meaning the first one who was not a basula, so her guf was already changed. So what did this guy do? He slept with her. He was ma'anis her. He didn't change much. He wasn't a basula. But the girl that was a basula, even though she was engaged, but lemaisa, he did more physical damage to her. So therefore, that's more mistaver to darshan it that way. So okay, but Rabbi Yosef Glili, according to Rabbi Yosef Glili, high svarim minale. How does he know the 50 shekel? Right? Because again, the Torah says that you give 50 shekel for rape. It doesn't say shekel of what. It doesn't say shekel kesef. It just says 50 shekel. It doesn't say shekel of what. And by mafata, where he coerces her, it doesn't say 50. It just says shekel kesef. So how does he know this? Again, Rabbi Akiva used the gzeira shava for this. How does he know it? So this we already learned a bunch of blot back. It says that he has to pay kesef like the worth of basulas. That this one should be like the mayor of the basulas, right? Meaning he should pay 50. The one doing the one that convinced her to sleep with him is going to pay like the psulas, umayr psulas kazeh, and the mayr psulas is going to be like this one, which is kesef yishkol. That means it's silver coins, 50 silver coins. right? Okay, either way, kasha Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Akiva. There's a steer Rabbi Akiva, right? Because the Mishna, right, this is what Gershon was asking. The Mishna says that he does have to give 50 shekel, but it goes to the girl herself. And in the braysa, it says that and it goes to the father. So Trey Tanoim, I'll leave it to Rabbi Akiva, right? It's 2 Tanoim according to Rabbi Akiva. So when it says Bishlam, Rabbi Akiva demasnisin le'asik zera shava mafkale lepromi pashti legamri. We understand the Gzera Shava according to Rabbi Akiva that the pasuk does not. If you do the Gzera Shava, it doesn't change the pasuk from its pashtus, right? Ella, meaning it's coming to teach the arusa herself, right? That she gets it. Ella Rabbi Akiva the braysa, but according to Rabbi Akiva the braysa, that the father gets the money. Asi Gzera Shava mafkami pashte legamri. The Gzera Shava is coming. And it's taking out the pashtus, meaning according to the way you read the puzzle, you just read the chumash. It says a girl who was not engaged gets and a guy's ma'anaser pays 50. Now Rabbi Akiva is learning a whole Gzera Shava, and now he's taking the pasuk and saying that she does get 50. So according to the braysa, his Gzera Shava is totally changing the pshat. So here you need diktuk for this. Doesn't say asher, meaning the pasuk. It's not going to change the spelling, right? The way it says it in the pasuk is aleph reish sin hey. That could be looked at as oirasa, where she was engaged, or arusa, she is, right? So that's coming to exclude, right, that somebody who arusa that she's engaged now. If she was engaged before, she still gets it. You hear what he's saying? He's changing the way you read the pasuk, and that the diktuk, which sometimes you get these guys that are telling the balkara that he read it wrong, that it changes the whole meaning of the pasuk. This is one of those situations. If you read the pasuk,
we don't have anything like that daf, Yaakov. Don't worry.
What?
We don't have anybody that's into diktuk on the daf.
Yeah. Right now. Everyone should be headed down to the dining room for Malka. Pizza Bay or ice cream toppings galore. Everyone should be headed down to the dining room. Parrots, come on over, Parrots. Parrots. Come on over, Parrots.
What else?
What?
What else do they got? Ice cream.
Rabbah, you're muted.
You're muted.
The
They got a magic show too. That part is after.
No, the parents will come to the adult version. Scotch rocks, then they'll be there.
Very good. Yeah.
Parents wanted to change it to Malava Dimalka.
Parents will have to go to the staff, Malava Malka. Yeah. Anyway, so again, if you read the pasuk Asher Loi Oirasa, means she wasn't engaged. Means even though now she's not engaged, but since she was engaged before, she doesn't get the money. But if you read it Asher Loi Arusa, that she's not engaged now, but if she would, meaning if she'd be engaged now, she doesn't get the money. But if she was engaged, she does get the money. So that's how you have to say it. So what it says, what do you mean? If she's engaged now, exactly what Peretz asked before. Arusa baskilahi. If she's engaged now, what are you talking about a knas? He's chayav misa, right? So what it says, no, the way we said on Amar Aleph, since it's a chiddush that the Torah said that a person pays a knas, you would think that apagav the mikdal, even though the guy's chayav skila, but since it's a knas, you would think that even though he's chayav skila, he should pay. Kamash Malan, the pasuk's telling you that he doesn't. Fine.
Talking about diktuk, why does the Gemara say bas skila, not ben skila who? She doesn't get skila for being nanas. Right.
No, so I think that she is, by him sleeping with her, he is a bas. She is a bas skila, meaning she's making him get skila. But the truth be told, I mean, John, how do you ask that? Why?
I mean, the Art Scroll says is subject to death by stoning as her partner, meaning both of them are.
Yeah, but why? He raped her.
She's
No.
not. He is.
That's not the case according to Art Scroll. It says what a girl.
So
who
is it
commits
going on
adultery.
Mefata? It's going on Mefata?
It's talking about adultery.
Yeah,
not
but
rape,
isn't he being...
not rape?
Unless it's saying both. It must be it's going on both, Mefata and Ma'anis. So in Ma'anis, she would be potter, but Mefata, she would be chayav. L'chari, Avi, I think it must be it's going on both cases, right?
Where does he get that art scroll? It says in the Mishna she's raped.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. L'chari, I can hear that it's going on both. Remember we were clearing if he rapes her, it's does that become yeah, sorry. I'm in a little different spot than I normally am, so it's a little loud. If he's ma'anis her, is he also to marry her? Meaning, if they slept together voluntarily, so of course he's not allowed to marry her, right? It's also labal, also labayel. But remember, we are way back in the beginning of the Masechta, we were clearing if he is, meaning, is it Yaharig Bal Yavar for him? Meaning, is that considered like, is it Yaharig Bal Yavar for him to rape her? Yeah.
A married woman? What are you talking?
Yeah, she's engaged.
Okay,
yeah.
fine. That's all. Okay, fine.
Yeah, no, she's engaged. Right? She's being raped. Does she have to give up her life? No, right? She's not. It's not a Mises Nus on her end. On his end, it is a Mises Nus. I remember we cleared it with the Toises. From here it's Mashma. It would be Yaharig Bal Yavar on him to rape her. Right? L'chayra. Right? And then L'chari wouldn't be able to marry her afterwards either if there's no Eidim and this and that. Because it sounds like it's a Mises Nus on his end. Okay.
Okay. You could let him jump out the window even after he rapes. It'll be okay.
Yes, that's true. Yes. So fine. So anything what it says the according to Rabbah, who says you do get Misa and Knas, Avagav the Miktal, Mishalim, even though the guy gets killed, he still has to pay because it's a chiddush Michael and Mimra, they're already going to say. So Savala Rabbi Akiva the Masnis, and you're going to have to say that Rabbah holds like Rabbi Akiva in the Mishna. Right? Fine. Now Gemara starts a new sugya. Let's just start it. Let's see. So Tana Rabban, Knasa Lemi. Who gets the Knas? Right? Meaning, right now the Gemara is thinking, Rashi says, it's talking about a stama rape. So who gets the Knas? Lavia. So it goes to the father. Some say it goes to her. So the Gemara says, La'atma amai. Why should you go to her? So we're not talking about your standard naarah. We're talking about a naarah who was engaged and then she got divorced. The kamif will give a plug to the Rabbi Akiva the Masnis and Rabbi Akiva the braysa, and their Machlokes is between Rabbi Akiva the Masnis and Rabbi Akiva the braysa. Whether meaning the Rabbi Akiva in the Mishna says she gets to keep it. Once she gets engaged, she gets to keep the money, the knas money. And Rabbi Akiva in the braysa says no, the father gets to keep the knas money.
Is
Right?
this the Gemara's first option? Because the pasuk itself says "V'nasan la'avia naarah." So what are we handling here? What's the shaila?
Well,
The pasuk says "V'nasan la'avia naarah."
I think that's the Gemara's kasha. I think that's the Gemara behind the Gemara's kasha. How could you say that she gets to keep it? The pasuk says it goes to the father, right? Oh, so let's see. Amar Abaya, Ba'ale o Mesa. Right, so we had this all at the beginning of the parak. If he's boil her, right, and then she died, potter, a legal loophole. He's potter from paying the knas. You give it to the father of the naarah, not to a father of a mesa. If she died from after he raped her till they went to Bezdin, he gets out scot-free. So the Gemara says, Milsa the pshita leila abaya, something that was pasha to abaya, that he's potter from paying the knas. Dibei leila Rabbah is a shaila to Rabbah. Dibei Rabbah yesh bogar bekever or ain bogar bekever. is there such a thing as a begeris when she's in the caver, or is she not a begeris in the caver? Right? Meaning, what's the shaila? Yesh baga bekever. There is such a thing as a begeris in the caver, meaning she's a begeris now, but she's unfortunately not alive.
What does that mean? The clock keeps
What?
on ticking even though she's not alive?
No, but the question is, let's say by the time they got to Bezdin, she was a naira when she was raped. Then she died. By the time they get to Bezdin to give the knas, she's a begeris, which a begeris doesn't get the knas anymore, right?
Dead Bulgaris. She's a dead Bulgaris.
She's a dead begeris, right? So now the question is, she doesn't get the knas, the begeris doesn't get a knas, but the whole story happened, she was a naira. So what's the difference? Meaning, if we go basar the time that she was a naira, so then the knas goes to the father, right? And if the knas, and if it goes with her, then it's her Yerusha, and she should get it, right? And then it goes to her, and then it should go to her son. And it goes to her, it'll go to her son, right?
There's no din bagris while she's there's no din bagris for her now. She doesn't exist.
No, I'm right. So there's a din in the Mishna coming up in 3 blot from now that if she becomes a begeris, we need that information before we do this Mishnah, before we do this Gemara. But if she, let's say standard case, she's alive. She got raped when she was a naira. Then by the time they get to Bezdin, she's a begeris. And they find the man guilty. Who gets the knas? So the Mishnah there says the begeris gets the knas. She gets to keep the money, not her father. We don't go when the rape
But she
happened.
never had a chance to be a begeris because she's dead.
No, that's this case. But the standard case is that if she's alive, by the time they go to Bezdin, she's alive, she keeps the money. The father does not keep the money.
If she's alive.
If she's alive. Now, what happens if she's dead now? Do we say, if she would have been alive, she'd be a begeris? So she gets the money and
the clock stopped.
Who says? Who says?
Well, she's
That's
dead.
The Gemara Shiloh.
The kever says it.
Right. Is there a begeris?
What are you saying?
It's crazy.
the
Zeb, it's crazy. It's crazy.
The Yarshim?
Yes, the Yarshim, yes, that it goes to the son or not. That's the Shiloh.
You're asking if you should pay the knas based on when the clock stopped already.
No, even the clock never stopped. The clock is still going, even though she's dead. So according to Abaya, one second. According to Abaya, who says that once she dies, the father doesn't get the knas. So Abaya said it's pashut. Right? It's pashut according to Abaya. Right? But we're saying Rabbah didn't know. He didn't know. Maybe not. Right? So let's see. Again, Milson,
if a girl died, she's a naarah, she's a cotton. And then 3 months later she became a naarah, and 6 months later she became a begeris.
No. The cotton is a machlokes whether she gets a knas. She was raped when she was a naira. Yeah, then she became a begeris.
Well, what happens with the Yerusha?
Exactly. So she has a Yerusha.
Does she has the
whatever money she had goes to her kids. Right?
Her real estate goes to her kids?
Yeah.
So you're saying the knas should go to the kids?
Correct. Well, that meaning Abaya would hold its pashut that there's no knas because she's dead, like exactly what you're saying. There's no knas, right? But Rabbah wasn't sure because he had the shaila. Yesh beggar bekever, ain't beggar bekever. That was the shaila.
I never heard such a thing that we're tithing mominous on a dead person.
Yeah, okay, but that's exactly the shaila. Let's see. So yesh beggar, dibei Rabbah. Yesh beggar bekever, ain't beggar bekever. Yesh beggar bekever, udibanahavi.
The action happened when she was alive, Zev.
Right.
The story happened when she was alive. So just because Ben Brafman was able to stretch it out for 17 months doesn't mean the mice didn't happen. That's the
no one's arguing the mice didn't happen. It's a question of whether we go when it's Gemar dinner.
Yeah, so that's the question. No, so it's a legitimate question.
Why? She's not alive. Why would the clock keep on ticking?
It's a machlokes between Litvaks and Hasidim and Hayinu Kecholman. By what's it called? By Chizkiya Amesim. There's a machlokes how to learn the pasuk. Hayinu Kecholman. They'll be 9,702 years old, or they'll still be 64 years old when they come out of the caves. So that's
but
yesh
gonna
bagger
be the
bekever
Gemara's-
and bagger bekever. So they still age.
Yeah. So, anyways, yesh beggar bekever l'uvidanahavi, aduma ain't beggar bekever l'daviyahavi, and it goes to the father. Either way, either side of the shaila is not going like Abaya. Okay, the Gemara is going to go through that. Is there really a shaila or not? But that's on next. We'll stop over here because my iPad's about to die. But either way, that's the Gemara shaila. We started tonight like this. The Gemara continues if it's even possible to have something like this. Yeah. All right. Okay. Good
Go
luck,
enjoy
everybody.
go enjoy the ice cream.
No, I'm out of here. I'm going to visit parrots. It's gonna be more fun over there.
He's smoking a cigar if he still has.
I would join you if I could.
Yeah. Enjoy your Shabbos Nachamu activities.
Abdullah yet or no?
I heard Abdullah. Yes, thank you.
Okay, I gotta make Abdullah.
All right.
Me too.
Fine.
That's the first time in a while I'm making it on wine.
Who makes Abdullah
All
on wine?
I made it on beer the last 2 weeks.
I make it on beer every week.
Okay, good for you.
Probably
I'm making it on
not.
wine.
I haven't had wine in a long time.
Really? Besides kiddush. Kiddush you make on scotch. Friday
I was
night, what do you do?
Friday night I make it on wine.
Right. Wait, your father wasn't makbid Matzah Shabbos Havdalah on wine?
I don't think he was too makbid.
No, we used to have beer all the time.
It's a shtick they bring from Reb Chaim. Reb Chaim said Havdalah more than kiddush. To be makbid on
Yeah,
wine.
there's
Only
a,
with grape juice. Yeah. Seder night, grape juice is the same as wine, Reb Chaim says, no? Just Havdalah.
Yeah, I don't know. He has this thing with Havdalah with wine. Yeah.
Havdalah, yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's the Yaakov.
Yeah, my mamish might die in a second. So yeah,
Wait,
go ahead.
Clarence, can you shut the record?
I'll shut it. No.